Greetings, this is Jim Lindsay. This is hopefully a pretty short lesson. I wanted to show you something about virtual backgrounds, and perhaps you've been in Zoom meetings or you've seen at least instructions on how to set up a virtual background. And what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, a virtual background is when you take what's behind you back here and then you make it look like something else. It could be a picture of a state park. It could be a picture of your company's logo. Think of like when you watch the news, and then it's the talking head, the guy sitting right here, and then whatever sort of story is over here next to them, that sort of thing. It's easy to do in Zoom, or it can be easy to Zoom and do. It can be easy to do in Zoom. Wanted to show you how it works. Now it works off of a green screen kind of idea or a chroma key sort of idea, and so you need contrast. You need a solid background back here, and there should be some sort of contrast between that background and you. I'm wearing a dark blue shirt, but you're going to see like this white background back here. It doesn't work for me for a couple of reasons. I have really pale skin, and I have white hair. And as you're going to see when I switch to my virtual background here in a minute, it's going to see that that's the background, and anything of that color is going to disappear. And so some of my face, some of my hair is going to disappear. My shirt will show up. My shirt and the neck of my shirt will be fine, but a lot of the rest of me is going to disappear. It's doing that just based on how the software tries to take whatever it expects to be the background and just masks that and puts something in its place. So let me show you how this would work. If you're in Zoom, I'm going to go to the little, you saw how to set up Zoom meetings a second ago. And you can do this as a participant, you can do this as a host. So down here there's something that says choose virtual background. And so I've got some different virtual backgrounds in here, and I'll go with this one for example. Like the sort of the cool beachy, this comes with Zoom, right? And so if I like that, you can see my problem. All of a sudden, all this white hair becomes, I look like the guy from Men in Black 3 when he's got the architect that he saves in his head, right? Even the whites of my eyes are disappearing. So this is a bad background. This is not a good one. So let me turn that off. Oop, excuse me. Let me go to the background, just go to none. And instead, let me show you something that should work better. To do this, I'm going to put up not a green screen. Green is ideal. And this chroma key stuff works best if it's, you've got like a green background back there. But I'm going to use something that I do have, so hold on one second. Okay, I'm going to try and use this. This is as you can see, a big pink blanket. And so I'm going to put this big pink blanket behind me, and then because this is a solid color, and it contrasts with the color of my hair, the color of my skin, the color of my clothing, the software will be able to figure out, say, okay, this is what I need to replace, and put that picture there, and then let everything that's different, be okay. So I'm going to try and get this thing behind me, or actually right over there, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I'm in the room that I showed you before, the room that I like to do my Zoom stuff in, and you can see I took that pink blanket and I put it up against the window, so it's going to be behind me. This is not going to be ideal. But I've got that solid pink background now. Pretend that, that contrasts with the rest of me, right? And so if I now go to the virtual background and I choose something like that picture, it looks a little better. It's not perfect, but it certainly looks a lot better than it did a second ago. And so if you would like to do like these virtual backgrounds and try those, try and find a wall of your office space or your working space that has that solid color. What would make that look even better is if I could drape that blanket, if it was bigger, to come right down here behind my shoulders. Then it would look like I'm actually at the beach. It does look a little cheesy, I know that, but it's kind of fun. Let me show you one other thing about the size of the backgrounds. If you'd like to do one, let's say the logo for your company. But I'm gonna get this thing out of the way just so you can see what that looks like that. I mean, it's cheesy, but It's kind of fun. Let me change views. Okay, so if you're going to, whatever you want to show up as the picture behind you, I've just changed back to the other seat. It works best if it's of a certain size and resolutions, or a certain size. So let me jump over here. These are some, from Blackboard. You've got the, this is the video you're watching, but you have some support articles right here. And what these will tell you is, if you look at these, the ideal size for a picture should be 1,920 pixels by 1,080 pixels. So 1920 by 1080 is the size of the background. If you can get it, that's ideal. That's what that does. It puts it into an aspect ratio of 16 by 9. If you divided that into equal chunks, there would be 16 equal chunks this way and 9 equal chunks going this way. And so how do you do that? Let me show you what I did. I took a graphic. I made a graphic using an image program called Visio. I used to teach it in this class. I'm not teaching it right now, but I made this graphic, just like, let's say, like a sort of a news kind of graphic, right? Let this thing come up. Okay, so what I figured is, like, hey, if my head showed up right here and this was behind me, I'd look like I'm on a TV newscast. Let's say you're doing some sort of training or some sort of sales Zoom meeting with your Zoom stuff, and you're trying to impress the people you're talking to. What I want you to see is that as you make an image, like your own image, and turn it into a background, there's certain stuff you need to do to it to make it actually function right. So I made this picture and saved it as a JPEG. When I did that, what it looked like was this, and you'll see the size of it down here, just based on my software and what I could output. I put out something that was 1,008 by 768 pixels. So the width and the height were not 16 by 9. So I used a image program. This I love this image editor. It's called View. It's free. I opened up this JPEG in View and I resized it, and I made it to the 1920 by 1080. Notice that there's some distortion there. It kind of spread stuff out because it changed the proportionality of it, but that still looks fine. Now, if I take that picture and I put that into a virtual background, what you would see is basically it reverses it. And so instead of this being on the right-hand side of the screen, it comes over to the left-hand side of the screen. And the CIS 320, instead of looking CIS 320, it looks in reverse. And so what you need to then do, once you've got your image, is you then have to flip this thing. So I went with my image editor. I then went up here and I did a horizontal flip so that it basically flipped over on itself. And what that looks like, the end result was basically what you see right here. So as you first look at that, go, that's weird, But in Zoom, because it's going to put that behind me, it's going to boom, put that back behind me. That actually shows up and looks pretty nice. So let me show you what that looks like if I do that. And that's background 3. It's not. It takes some steps, and hopefully as you watch TV, as you watch different broadcasts and stuff like that, what they do is really pretty cool. It's pretty complicated. This should verify that for you. So let me get that big again. Let's say I'm going to go to like a virtual background. Choose a virtual background. Let me go with that number 3 that I showed you guys. And as you can see, it's popping up. And I'm not by the pink one. I can move over there so you can see that. Again, it's not perfect. There you go, that right there. So if I move over here, because it's doing full screen, hopefully this will look a little better. I need to actually start it over here because it's still looking for that white background. So let me try that one more time. Go to none, then go back to here and close that out. But you can see that looks pretty cool. And if I had a little bit bigger pink blanket back behind me, that would look better. And so if you're in the mood to create your own backgrounds, you can use pings, JPEGs, bitmaps, they're different file extensions for pictures, and then try and make those the correct size and make sure you have a solid colored background behind you. And then when you implement this or you turn on this virtual background, that's how it works. So hopefully you got some good helpful information. Thanks for your time and attention. Have a good day.